All right, once again, it is time for, I don't know, lessons with the Mighty Rider. How it works from the Mighty Rider. Not math with the Mighty Rider. I don't know. Call it whatever you want. Obviously, last time we went over rare and epic heroes, so why not start off with the next logical step, and let's go check out our mythic heroes, which, as you see, I have pretty good for Gen 6. So some of these heroes, of course, you're going to see towards the beginning of the game, and obviously as the generations go through, you'll get better and better heroes that do more and more things. What you'll use will depend on what you're trying to do. Just to check in, we got our man Zinman here.
Time to build, baby.
I always gonna kick him what they say or do sometimes. Look at his gear.
No!
Oh, no gear. What if I showed you?
Wrong
No
place.
gear. That's what I do. People I don't use. Zinman's skills. He's got one right here that is very helpful. Because what it does, look at that. Construction cost down, construction speed up 15%. So he does have a helpful skill once you get up to level 5. Keeps going up to 15%, max it out. So that really helps out when you're building your facilities, whether you think about it or not, because at the beginning of the game, resources are scarce. In let's mute that stuff. Later in the game, resources are more plentiful, but we'll see how that goes over there. As you see his first skill here, defense 10%, health 10%, would help when you're doing a garrison. Also goes along with that increasing damage dealt by 25% for all troops. So it's actually not a bad hero to have in the beginning but notice the third skill, so only helps if you're in a lead rally. So it's very rare you're gonna be helping in your lead rally because look, good defense, you got health, and then you have damage dealt. So he's not a bad guy to have in there. I don't tend to use him, but the skill you love for him, right over here. Actually, we back one. Hello, widgets. Widgets, of course, are very important. We scroll down. Defender troop attack. So that's again. So his attack's pretty good if you're in a garrison. Again, leading in a garrison. Your widgets won't really come into effect if you're a joiner. That's pretty much the knowledge to have on Mr. Zinman. We've got one of our favorite people, Molly. Love that she throws like snowballs, pretty much. She's pretty cool. Another one who I loved having in the beginning. We're looking at her. Oh, no gear. Skills again. So here's your stun. I never really like stunning features or stunning skills because I'll look at that 20% chance. That's not much. 50% chance of increasing damage dealt by 50%. That's much better. And then, of course, increasing damage dealt by 25%. So if you're beginning of the game or you're early in the game with less heroes, if you have her, 25% damage is huge if you're leading a rally. Where do you get her? Oops. I forgot again. Show gear. Hello. Defender, troop lethality. So she's good if in a garrison. Again, lead garrison. Also, awesome character. Natalia. Dude, she's got a giant polar bear. I mean, that's awesome. And it jumps at you. It makes you jump back. And says, "Ah." No gear. Skills. We got another stun. Still not a fan. So not a joiner with Natalia. Attack 25%. Damage dealt 25%. She's a great lead infantry hero when you're just starting out, or if you're low levels and you haven't really built it. I know she does cost money for the VIP, but there are ways if you're starting it later in the game here that you can get her as part of the initial. I don't know what to call it. As far as the you can get it for free. I just can't think of the word it's going. But I'm gonna show you what it is because that's what I do. Here you go, recruits. You got your advanced and epic recruits. She can become free shards. She can be included in that. So be on the lookout for that, especially as you get free shards as you're leveling up. I definitely recommend. Not that this is less of it, but throwing this in is a little. Is save the gold keys. Don't spend them unless you absolutely need to for an event. Otherwise, I don't use them at all, unless except for the free one. The free one I'll use. I'll let them bank, and then you'll get a great um, event or something like that. Like I think we have Vision of Dawn right now. Let's scroll over. I know I've gone off, or we finished Vision of Dawn. So Vision of Dawn helps because you get some points for that. You do 10 at a time. You'll need them. Save for now. We're going to go back into heroes. I know it went a little sidetracked there, but let's go back down. Philly, she's pretty good. Again, no gear, widgets, health, great for defense, skills. We've got attack and defense. So that's a pretty good combination too, right there. But again, not helping you as a unless you're really leading. I mean, so if you were to use her as a joiner, it'd be more towards the beginnings of the game when she's one of your higher heroes, because you got 50% attack and you don't have enough heroes that are 20 or 25% to help with your bear or attacking. You get right here 25% chance of dealing 200% damage. That's a pretty good attack because really you divide by 4, that's like 50%. So sometimes you get 0, other times 25%, of the time 50%. And then the last one, stun again. Again, I don't really use Philly for just about anything. Though that first skill is not too bad if you're early stages. That 15% attack is better than no attack, especially, like I said, early stages. Good old Flint. He looks so awesome. He's got a flamethrower. Come on, who doesn't want a flamethrower? Gear again. As you can see, I went all in the widget because at one point he was my lead infantry, so I leveled him all the way up, which was defender troops attack by 15%. So he was leading my garrisons for a while because defender troop attack is 50%. That's huge. I lost him again, and then we go to skills. We got right here again. 20% chance of setting the target on fire, dealing 40% damage. So it's not a good percentage. So not really for joining purposes, because now we're looking here, increased attack 25%. That's awesome. And then a 50% check of increasing enemy troops damage taken by 50%. So that's big. So you definitely want Flint in the early stages, and even through some of the other generations, probably into 4-ish, we'll get there eventually. You want him as your lead infantry guy because he's got a 25% right there, and then pretty much a 25% right here. That's pretty huge. That's awesome. And the stunning, that's not too bad. That helps a little bit, but these two are big. So I definitely recommend Flint as a lead for your rally early on when you get him. Plus, doesn't he just look so cool? He's got a flamethrower. Hello, Alonzo. And you'll see Alonzo, I was also using it for a while. Because look at that. Rally troops lethality by 15%. That's huge as a lead rally. If you get to 50% lethality, that's pretty big. But again, this is more for these ones that I maxed out the widgets. It's because I'm a spender. I'm not going to lie. I won't front. Not afraid to play. As many times as I've tried to be afraid to play, or even a low-key spender, I always fail. I'm terribly competitive. I've had to join. I've joined alliances. Let's backtrack. So when I first started playing, it was like, okay, spend here, spend there, a couple, maybe 10, 15 bucks, blah, blah, blah. Because it was early in the game. There wasn't a lot of heavy hitters. Like, did I want to catch up yet? But it wasn't so bad. And it wasn't until I came to my more recent state here where I came up with a lot of big spenders. But yeah, so I was like, "Ooh, you're spending. I gotta spend too," and that is not a good way to go, unless you want. That's your thing. But it was not good for my wallet, and my financial advisor was very angry with me. Yeah, not happy. Let's go back to Alonzo again. Skills. 20% chance again, stunning. Ugh, hate that. Terrible joiner. 20% chance of reducing damage dealt, 50%. So, better if you're leading the garrison. And then granting all troops attack a 50% chance to do it. So that's not too bad, but overall, maybe not someone you want to lean on big unless you did really get that widget all the way up and you decided to go all in for the widget. The 15% on rally troop lethality is huge. Otherwise, great for, you know what it is? Arena. Look at that. Area of effect damage, which means it attacks and it hits more than one enemy. So that's great. You love area of effect damage. Those are fantastic, especially for your marksman hanging out in that back row of the arena, which we'll probably save for another video for arena. But I'll mention it as I go along here and there when I see something, or if I remember that I did use them at one point. Alonzo was great for arena for a while. He was definitely a mainstay. I don't use him anymore just because I have stronger characters or heroes. But that's great. Here's some other things. 70% area of damage. Harpoon blast, stunning target every 5 seconds. Number of attacks. See it keeps going down, and the stun time goes longer. So that's pretty good. But really, that area of effect damage, 280%. Damn, that's good. All right, and we got Geronimo. Now, Geronimo is a must-have, in my opinion. But if you're free to play or a low pay, low spender, then he's not for you, unfortunately. If you're going to spend, I highly recommend getting Geronimo because he is your lead attack infantryman for Bear, I used him for Foundry, I used him in Tundra Arms, I used him in Castle. He's your man. And if you're getting him, you're going all out. You're spending the money in the VIPs. You're spending the money on the widgets because we're going to go here. And we got rally troops attack by 15%. That is just awesome. Still no gear because I don't keep gear on him because I only use him when I'm attacking. So I will put gear back on him. That quick equip, I'll eventually take it off who I'm starting with and then quick equip him. But skills, and then again, this is where we love them. 25% damage to all troops. 25% damage of all troops. And then the stupid stunning one. Well, not stupid, just not as impressive. But 25, that's 50. Plus the 15% rally attack damage. It's pretty much 65% attack buff. And then a 20% chance of stunning him, so that helps a little bit too. But these two, plus your widget, once you get all of it, he's ridiculous. And from what I've seen so far, again, we're only on Gen 6, but he's used as your main infantry high up into the gens. We're talking 7, 8, maybe 9. Again, don't hold me to that one. I don't remember. I've researched it, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm just focused on the gen that I'm in right now. But Geronimo is key. If you do want to spend any money, I highly recommend Geronimo. And again, remember, you only need to get to 4 stars in order to get to skill level 5s. You don't have to go for the final one and get that 5th star. But you get the 4 stars, you get these skill levels to 5, and that's it. He's your man. You set him up as your lead rally infantry and never have to worry about anybody else. I learned that pretty early on from in my researches, and that's one reason why I've had him probably since Gen 2 or 3-ish. I don't recall exactly, but I spent the money on him right off the bat when I found out he was how important he was. Originally, I saw him, I was like, I'm not spending money on that guy. First of all, he looks like a fancy guy. I mean, I like the sword, but he's too fancy. Yes, his sword skills are badass, but that hair, he makes me feel like a pretty boy. But Geronimo, I don't know. I just went off on a tangent there, but he's your lead infantry guy. 100% recommend getting him. If you're gonna spend some money, go for Geronimo. His attacks are badass, and again, he pays off because you use him for so long. Like if he was only using him for like 1 generation, 2 generations, that's like ignore him. But the fact that he's your main guy from pretty much he can be your main guy from Gen 1 through, and we're on 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a lot of days of gameplay where he's leading your charge. I mean, it's huge, and you never go back, because he's gonna get you those huge attacks. Now we're gonna move on to my man Logan, who again no gear, but as you see, I used him, but defender troop. So he was a garrison lead for me, and obviously since I am a spender / large sea metal, he was my guy. He was pretty good. He's got a sweet robotic arm, regular skills. Over here, granting all troops attack a 20% chance of dealing 40% extra damage per turn. So that's not too bad. You got reducing damage taken by 20%. That's huge. And then increasing health by 25%. That's huge. That's where your big garrison skills are. Right here, damage taken reduced 20%, 25% there. And again, that's only if you get up to level 5. Logan's, you see, Generation 3, Season 3 as they call it, with sometimes. But so that's the way you look at Logan. Go back, Mia. Again, someone who looks pretty cool. I always thought it was awesome. She's like a female, call it Gambit if you're into Marvel, because she's got the cards and she lights that shit up, part of my language, and throws them. She's got some great gear here. I see it loaded her up. Again, rally troops attack 15%. That's big. And then skills right here. 50% chance of increasing damage by 50%. That's big. 50% chance attack by 50%. Again, big. And then granting a 40% chance of reducing damage by 50%. So that's not so important. But those first two skills, 50 at 50, 50 at 50, and then the widget, and we'll show you again, 15% rally, that's big. She, again, is someone you're going to use for your lead rally through the generations. So she came out Gen 3, used her for Gen 4, used her for Gen 5. I'm using her for Gen 6. I believe I looked into it. You use her for Gen 7 and maybe even 8 as your Lancer. So if you spend the money, you're going to have Geronimo, you're going to have Mia. That's 2 of your main heroes for Bear Hunt. You can use them for attack. When you get to the higher generations, you may not use Mia for general attack or like that, but there is a strategy out there where you do use her, and I tested it, and it was pretty good. It's more for you to play with and see if it works, but there's a 50-0-50 ratio where you're 50% infantry, 50% marksman, and nothing on lancers, because overall her attack's weird, but her bonuses to all the rest of the troops are high, and it worked a couple times. It really depends on obviously who you're attacking and what their ratios are, but you can use her later in the game. Like I used her in the last SVS. Don't tell anybody that because they told me not to, but I did, and it worked. So I learned that online. Not gonna lie, I did not come up with that strategy at all. I stole that from somebody on, I think, YouTube. Yeah, but it worked. I was surprised. It made no sense because she's Gen 3. But as far as Bear, she's my lead in every Bear. Again, no gear now, but I switched to gear everywhere. We've got Fancy Greg, the lawyer, pretty much, because the law is on his side. I used him too, as you can see. Rally troops health, so defensive, right there. So you see that, that's defensive. Go back to the skills. Increases damage dealt. 20% chance of reducing enemy damage dealt, 50%. So again, that's defensive. And then increasing health by 25%. So Greg is a good defensive hero. Again, but notice where his ones are. They're his second and third skills and his widget. So they're only necessary if you're going into him for lead rally. So again, if you're getting to the money spend or putting your resources into Greg, then yeah, you can go for him. But like Alonzo, we're going to go check out Exploration again. He's got that attack 224% damage to enemies within a range and stunning them for 2%. So he drops this cool cage on him. I'm sure you've seen it if you have the category, and stuns all the enemies, which just looks awesome. Actually, it's like the cage of justice. And here you go, yeah. Accommodation, restore health, equal to Greg's 50% attack, and then it gives increasing the damage taken by 30% for 3 seconds. So he's pretty good in arena too. And again, I don't use him anymore, but he was great for arena. I still see people use him in arena just because of the area of stunning and attack. I'm just kind of past him because he's Gen 3 and I'm up to Gen 6. But Greg was great. Alonzo was great. Again, you want marksmen in the back, especially if they could do, or any hero that could do area of damage, that could stun or hurt a larger group of enemies. And we'll go back out of Greg. We've got Lynn. Why do I have Lynn maxed out? I kind of just fell into it. I did not go into it planning to get Lynn. I thought she looked pretty cool because she's pretty much got like it's almost like a mandolin, but it shoots bullets. I mean, that's cool. She looks like she's part of like the resistance, but then like joins a minstrel group and serenades people. I didn't finish her up. See, look at that. She's a but defender without it, so she's defensive right there. Go to skills. Damage dealt increased. Yes, I like Zelda. That was my ringtone on my phone. Reducing damage dealt by 20% for all enemies. Huge. And then she increased her marksman attack by 5% for every 3 attacks. So she's a good defensive hero in that way. I've seen some people use her in arena. I tried it for a little while. These are her exploration attacks. 7%, 5 seconds, attack up, effect duration. She's a single attack, but this is really where it's huge. Dealing attack 300% damage to enemies from along the way. So that's pretty big. And then, of course, she reduces her attack speed by 3% and then healing effects for all enemy troops by 60%. So that helps as well. Get Gen 4. Yeah. Again, I used her for a bit. I might have been using her wrong, but that's more good. Like with any hero, don't take my move the computer a little bit. Don't take my word as gospel. It's more just advice and what I did, and hopefully you find your proper combination. Because remember, sometimes it's just about like, the combination of heroes. It's not necessarily about each hero, and it's about how you combine them, different skills with different levels, and as always, getting them to at least 4 stars gets you to level 5s, and that's both expedition and exploration. Now we get some more Gen 4s. So I went into not wanting Amos at all. I had actually read bad things about him, but he ended up being pretty damn good. Yes, he has gear on him. Oh, because I've actually caught up where I have some extra gear now, because that'll be another video where you'll see me go over hero gear, but I'm finally catching up where I can get to extra marches with gear, and that's why he has actual some gear. Defender troop again, 15%, huge defensive, and he is a great garrison hero. Not only for your lead garrison, but he's a great joiner. Because look right here, his first skill, level 5. Reducing damage taken by lancers and marksmen by 30% and infantry by 70% for 2 turns. That's huge. Look at that. 30% lancer marksmen, 70%. That's a really good joiner. I know it depends on your strategy. I would go by what your group strategy is or alliance strategy is. Most of the time, joiners, we prefer to use Patrick, as we went over before, because of all the health boost. But once you graduate, if you were doing defensive hero change, you were using Sergei. After you've graduated from Sergei, if you get it, you get to Amos, and he's the way to go. And eventually you get to, I don't remember if it's he's Gen 4, so it's got to be, I think it's Gen 5 when you get to the Reaper missions, and they give you Amos shards instead of Gina shards. So start collecting those then, because it's free shards. And same thing with the recruitment keys again, the gold keys, the silver keys. You could get Amos shards there too. So I definitely recommend gathering those and eventually going towards Amos. You know, you don't need to spend for them unless you are a spender. Then definitely go for him. 100% go for him. Get into his exploration. You know, he reduces damage taken. He's got dealing with 98% attack damage. He was pretty good at arena. I led him as my infantry guy for attack for a little bit. And then actually, of course, if you look here, bing, attack by 40% for friendly troops under protection for 2.5 seconds. So that's pretty good. Ding. All right. Nora, she rides a motorcycle. That's just awesome, too. I don't know. I mean, some of the characters they come up with, it's just like, wow, where did that come from? But it's cool. She looks like she's going to fall off. Yes, I know there's temporary gear on there, but I'm actually just going to unequip all. I don't remember why I put them on there. I think I did it when I had her helping something, and I put like every point counted. I don't remember. But as you see, we've got defender troop helping in. And we're going to look at oops, did we do that? Nope, didn't want to look right either. You know what? Just sometimes just like this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And I don't. I just like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing when I'm making these videos, but you take my advice for what it is. or don't take it because like this guy's a moron. But look, you're decreasing damage taken by 50% and boosting damage up by infantry and marksman. So that's pretty good, 15%. So again, depending on what levels you're at, she can be a good joiner hero because 15%. But most likely, you're when you get to Gen 5, your alliance won't want you to use her because she can hurt the damage if she's taking the place of someone like Jesse or Jasser, Seoyun, and Reyna, and the other joiner heroes that we've gone over and discussed a little bit, because she's only 15%. So if you're if you're the leader of this rally, would you want someone joining you who's only 15%, or would you want someone who's joining you who's 25 or 30%? Yeah, I want 25 or 30% too. That's a no-brainer. So you don't want your overall scores to be brought down because you join with Nora. You'd have to be like one that you know is like, well, this is the Nora rally. And just because all the other joiners have been used already, because there's only so many heroes that you can join with. But look, you've got area of effect damage again. So good for arena. 70% stuns, boosting all attack by 5%. So we like her for arena. Now we love Reyna. We love her a lot. Even though she turns into a cat, you know. Meow. And she makes that sound too. I turned the sound off, but I thought it was funny. Look, she's pretty good too with her gear. But look at that. Rally troop lethality, 15%. We love that. She also has right here for her when we get to arena. She's a good arena hero. 40% chance of throwing an extra kunai, dealing 45% damage with normal attack. And then we get to her skills. This is it right here. Queen of the Joiners. Again, I don't know about higher levels yet because we're only at Gen 6, but as of right now, she is by far the best joiner. You want her to be at least 4 stars and level 5. And that's because she's a 30% bonus. You love that. Right here, all troops 20% chance of dodging normal attacks. That's defensive, but it's only 20% chance. And then finally, 25% chance of performing an extra attack, dealing 200% damage. So she's not bad in a lead rally, but it's only for her lancers. See, notice it says her lancers, so it's not all troops. So that's why she's a joiner. Oops, I did it again. So you got your joiner right here, 30%. That's the only reason why she's a joiner. She's your number 1 joiner. So if you have a top rally guy or girl, you want to use Reyna for that one. So I prefer everyone who joins my rallies to use Reyna because that increases everybody's scores overall. That will increase my scores. That will increase my joiner scores, even the people who were like lower on the totem pole, like joiner number 14 and 15, they're still gonna get a ton of points out of my rally because the top people were using Reyna. I mean, that's 100% it. And then when you get to Reyna, look at that area of effect damage, 420%. And I'm pretty sure they were not making a joke when they said 420. But to use that, you have to be high not to use Reyna for either Arena or for your joiner. Jointer. I went there. It's punny. Confusing the opponent, extra damage, and of course, dealing damage equal to attack 104% and immobilizing them 1%. She does this cool like zipping through all the troops until she hits the area effect. It looks awesome. So if you're playing Arena, I would definitely check it out because it looks awesome. Or if you're go on the exploration stage, it looks pretty cool. And she looks awesome. Come on, look at that sword. Come on. Now we have our gladiator Hector. Gear again. Oh, see, hundreds. I just did that last SVS, so he didn't used to have all that stuff. Now I'm working on upping his essence stones so that he can eventually go legendary gear. But we go over here. He's got defender troops, 15%. So again, garrison hero. He's going to lead the way. Oops, right. Skills. Our first skill, if I can find it right there, is a 40% chance of reducing damage taken by 50% for all troops. That's pretty good. It's not great as a joiner, more of a lead rally person. Your joiners, again, are most likely going to be Patrick for your health, Amos if he's up there for help, or if you're still lower level, Sergey. I mean, even like Bahidi and Lomac are pretty good for helping reduce damage on defense for joiners. Eventually, you'll need multiple joiners. When you get to the bigger events where there are multiple rallies you're joining. Obviously, you can't do it in SVS. You're going to be in one rally, or in Castle. But like you get to like a Foundry or you get to Tundra Arms, you're going to be able to send out to join multiple garrisons, and you'll want multiple people to join. So you'll want to use Patrick for one. You'll want to use, probably want to use Patrick for, your Imperial Foundry. And then maybe for the boilery, you're sending out Sergey. And then maybe for the prototype one, you're sending out Amos. And again, just stuff like that. And at this stage of the game, this is not really beginner information, but you should know what those places are. I hope, if you've ever played a couple Foundries, and should have those characters by then. But again, make sure they're built up. If you've been playing long enough, they should be built up, especially the lower levels. That now you're just working on getting better Mythic heroes. We're gonna go back out of this. Now we're also going to our Gen 5 over here. Gwen. I love Gwen. Not gonna lie. She flies and shoots a gun. I mean, she just looks cool too. That's just awesome. Again, you see, I have her. Look, I have 2 legendary gears. I'll be able to get those 2. Level 10 Essence Stones, level 0 Essence Stones. Because what did I do? I did those 2 first. Then we got right here 70% damage when you're getting to like the arena. Rally troop lethality 15%. Yes, please. Then we get to our skills. What do we have here? Ooh. Damage taken by 25%. Joiner. Yes, Gwen's a joiner. Right here, granting all troops attack 100% extra damage for every 5 attacks and causing target to receive 15% extra damage for its next attack received. So that's pretty big too. And then finally, you're dealing 50% extra damage to all enemies on the next attack, but for marksman, not all your characters. So she's actually not bad for a rally lead too, depending on what your status is. Obviously, if you're lower status, she's another awesome joiner. Right in there. You got rated number 1, and then it's pretty much Gwen, Soyun, Jasser, Jesse, Gwen, so you, Josh, Jesse, those are your ones right there. That's your 5 people. So when you're doing like bear hunt, you have your own rally, or you have 6 joiners. Sorry, yeah, 6 joiners. So 5 of them are taken. The 6th one will eventually be taken. Obviously, we recommend sending no hero with that unless you've worked out something else with your alliance, but that is between you and your alliance. Don't go rogue and send someone else like Hector. I'm talking to you, Big Kitty. No sending Hector to his joiner. Bad Kitty. But she's also great for, that's right, arena. Area of effect damage. That's what we love. Attack 104%. Attack 49% damage per second for 3 seconds. Yeah, she's great for arena. Again, also a marksman. You put her in that back row. Love a marksman attack. Now we get to my main 3 for right now. And just because they're all Gen 6, that's why they're the strongest ones for right now. And that's why I keep the gear on them. We've got Renee, who was a must get for Gen 6 because she was your lucky wheel. Oh, going back a second. You always want, if you're free to play, you always want the lucky wheel heroes. So that's why we had Hector before. He was lucky wheel, so that's why we pumped him up. And now for Gen 6, we have our great Renee. Man, Renee. He's a clown on a ball with size. Oops, there they are again. That's pretty cool. Get to the gear. And let's see. Oh, all loaded up. Almost. I only got one level 20 on this one, but the other ones are getting there. Here we got troop lethality by 15%. We got going back. Yeah. Skills. And then we got extra damage. 200%. Her lancers can place them on her targets. So for at least for 1 turn. So that's pretty good. But it increases her Lancer's damage dealt. Again, you're not using a lot of Lancers in your attacks, so that's why I don't like her as much for my attacks. So, yeah, just not as much into her. She's again increases damage dealt to marked targets by 70%, 75%. That's pretty good. So that's your key one, the skill 3. So again, that's why she's not a joiner. Do not use her as a joiner. Going back to level this skill 1, Lancers place dealing 200% extra Lancer damage once next turn. It's not going to do it. Lasts for 1 turn. I told you before, your leader, and this is your Lancer, is Mia. And that's what we're going to go with. Though, we've got an area effect damage, which is great for, arena. So definitely recommend using her for that. Because area effect's always big. It looks like she throws paint on them, which is kind of cool. And then has the star marks. And you got attack up 24%, damage up 12%. So I definitely recommend her for arena. We're almost winding down now. Last 2, we got our man Wu Ming. And we're going to get into his gear again. Oop, fully marked up because he's awesome. But here we got, again, he's defensive. Defender troops defense by 15%, but is regular attack that increases damage up by 30%. That's huge. So he's leading my arena right now. And then we get to our skills right up here. We got reducing his infantry's damage taken from normal attacks by 25% and from skills by 30%. Yes, please. That's huge. I mean, even if he gets replaced in the future gens, it's infantry damage taken from normal attacks by 25% and from skills by 30%. And remember, when you're doing a garrison, you're mostly, again, depending on your alliance's strategy, but you're mostly putting infantry in there. So like you might use a 70-30 strategy or a 60-40 strategy. That's a high percentage of troops, and they're getting saved because of Wu Ming. So he might be a good joiner of the future, but obviously he's purely for spending players. And then, of course, we have increasing damage dealt by 20% for all troops. And then finally, we have increasing skill damage dealt by 25% for all troops. So he can be a good leader too. Again, still not trumping Geronimo, but when you're getting into your additional marches, or when you get to where you're setting out more than one march or rally, Wu Ming is definitely a good leader for that. And eventually, he'll probably take over for Amos in one of my attacking things, or Hector. Again, I didn't play with that yet because Wu Ming ran as the top guy, so eventually we'll get there. And then, of course, you got, look, area of effect damage again, gaining invulnerability for 2% damage. That's huge. He's great for Arena. I've seen him used for a few gens in some simulators I've seen. We'll see how that goes when we get to Gen 7. Right here, attack up 24%, defense by 48%. Then we got dealing attack 28% to a random enemy with every normal attack. So Wu Ming is really good for your individual attacks for Arena, or for your one-on-ones, regular marches. And then finally, we got Wayne. He's our outlaw. Fastest gun in the Whiteout Survival. Yeah, that's right. I did that. You can laugh or say, why are you watching this? First of all, if you got this far in the video and you didn't see something like that coming, then you haven't paid attention because I am terrible. Again, power boomerang, defender troops lethality, 15%. So obviously he's a defensive hero. And then we got dealing 56% damage to a random enemy. If the target is an escort, there's a 100% chance of instantly knocking them down. It'd be pretty cool if they showed him down, get knocked down. It's like, oh, I got hit by a boomerang. If he spoke with an Australian accent too, that'd be so cool. It's like, I'm Crocodile Dundee's brother, and I have a boomerang. No, I'm not going to do an accent for you because I could half do it and it'd be god awful, and I won't do that for you guys. But if we look at our first skill, Brilliant Battle Planning allows all troops to launch an extra attack every 4 turns, dealing 100% damage. So that's pretty good. Still not something I would use necessarily as a joiner. Maybe he'll be someone that I'll test as a joiner at one point. I haven't decided to do that yet, honestly. I probably should. Maybe even for my last rally that I'm sending no troops right now. It's always good to experiment with different, like I said, different combinations. I mentioned it before, different bear setups. It doesn't hurt. And don't be sneaky about it. Tell your fellow lines, hey, on this rally, I'm going to send out Wayne and I'm trying him out as a joiner. And some people will be like, don't do that on my rally. Because as some of you probably know, there's some people take bear way too seriously. And I am not one of those people, so I don't even check who joins for the most part. Doesn't mean you should send whoever you want to my rally. I know this video is mostly just going to my own alliance, so please just do not. If I do check still sometimes, and if I find you did send the wrong people to my rally, I will kick you. I hate to do that because I'm just like, it's not worth it, but I will kick you out of the rally. It's just, please don't do that. But if you mention it, go for it. But some people are real strict about it. Here you go. On every attack, his marksman deal 40% extra damage to enemy lancers and 20% extra damage to enemy marksmen. So that's pretty good. And then finally, look that granting all troops attacks 25% critical hit rate. That's huge. And of course, what do we got here? Area of effect damage because he throws that boomerang, and it's badass for the arena. He's, again, a must-have now for arena. Eventually, I'll probably have a arena video, but that's pretty much it for the Mythic heroes. And there will be more coming where we'll tap back into some of those. I'll get to the hero gear on some of them. Eventually, another video. But for now, that's it. We will thank you for joining the Mighty Rider, and I will see you all.